I have changed my diet to plant-based and eliminated dairy, gluten, and meat. That's the first thing, sweetheart. You needed to get rid of all your, is this a male or female? If you're a male, hi, sweetheart. I love y'all. But getting rid of anything that smacks of a dairy, and that includes kefir or yogurts, just as mucus forming as anything. I feel much better, but can't get rid of mucus congestion and dandruff. Well, this is very important. This is a very important question. We've talked about this, but I want you to remember the body is a tree. The trunk of the tree is the GI tract. And just my experience through the years has said if you don't clean up the bowel, and particularly the transverse colon, which you can't just clean that up, but by getting in and getting that lymph moving through the kidneys and, you know, the adrenal kidney connection, that's essential. Second essential, get that bowel cleaned up. And remember, there's a lymph system in the wall of the gut that goes all the way up the trunk of the tree, all the way up to the top. So until you clean this up, this is just sitting there with nowhere to go. Once you start cleaning this up, it's going to start draining. And that's essential because now your scalp with the dandruff and everything is making up that's where you're draining, is through your scalp. And it's not enough. And a lot of people get psoriasis and eczema on the head. It's all just acids coming out. So really get this hard. You might have to do, if your lymph is that backed up, you really need, and you're going to see where vegetables, okay, and get on fruit and you start draining. Huge difference between the two in detoxification. And a lot of you have already proved it to yourselves. I've been saying this for 40 years, but you know, it takes a while for those that are stuck in the vegetable world and their heads down in the gardens to get out of that. Remember I told you the old Native American chief that in the, what was the name of that book? To Touch the Earth. A great book, To Touch the Earth. Just sayings from spiritual Indian chiefs that are, you know, mystic Indians like Sitting Bull and stuff. Just great stuff. And, you know, the white man was trying to train Native Americans to plant corn and to do all this. And one chief said, "You want me to rip my skin of my mother?" and tear its bones out, you know. So I mean, there's a lot of levels of purity thinking and stuff, but it goes back to frugivores thinking, in my opinion. Dr. Morse, so why do you recommend both capsules and tincture of kidney number 1, raw food solution? I've had just a few cases with kidney number 2 actually restricting the flow of urine, and I can't figure out whether it's gravel root or plantain. Plantain's more of a puller, so I have to looking at that. I only had 2 or 3 cases, but even if I have 1 case, it's going to make me look at a formula a little bit. I like the herbs in there. They're actually more of a diuretic formula, but still, when you start looking up urinary tract herbs, there's so many great ones that it just, you need a couple of formulas. But we have found Willie from Northern Nutrition, who's an Amish healer, great friend of mine, started using the capsules and found that he was getting sediment quicker. So I said, whoa, because I've always been the tincture thinker. So a lot of you guys have helped me to go, well, maybe the capsules are a little stronger. So take the difference. Get lymph node 2 in tincture and lymph node 2 in capsule and see which one's going to kick your butt. And it's going to be the capsule. So by both of them, we're making sure that the kidneys are getting pounded. And my kidney number 1 is well known through years of work that it is an incredible formula for kidneys. I've used that for years. I'm going to keep coming out with more formulas when I get a little time. My adrenal formula, I am revamping that one. And so I'm just going to keep coming out with power hogs, but I have to also allow for conversations of those that know more about herbs that are not here. I have other spiritual beings that I work with, and I really need to have a wholeness. I have to feel it. I have to get feedback, and then I try to let the Supreme Being kind of guide me too. I like all that, because all that will assure that that formula is going to kick some butt. If I try to use my mind, then I'm going to create an inferior product. And I just don't want inferior products. I want the best that I can always do. And I think that we all should strive that. Always do the best you can do in any given moment, and that's the best you can do. Because you're leaving a print. And I'd rather leave a print of greatness and ethics and of wellness and of health and of truth as opposed to a print of being a butthole. Pardon my French. So, that was why of that. Oh, this is far above rubies. Wow. You, dear one, you look like a ruby yourself, though. Look at that beautiful smile on your face. My God, you are one beautiful lady here. Part 3, one more question. I have a cavity that needs to be filled and one that doctors say either pull it out or get a root canal. I refused. I can't have them messing up my celebrity. Good. So I somewhat follow Ramul Nagol's protocol in his book, Cure Your Cavities. He cites Dr. Weston Price's study, which says our diet lacks activator X and fat. Oh, God. Kendra. Well, not say I'm in line with Mr. Price's thinking. That's more medical thinking and current naturopathy thinking, and there should be a modality in between allopathy and naturopathy, and that'd be Winston Price. Well, you remember, tooth is just like bone, you know, cells and your mediums there. I just say this, you know, this is all about lymph and how you break things down. If you have to have a filling, you always use a composite or some type of calcium-based, or I don't think they have calcium-based fillings, but in a root canal, you would use a calcium-based substance, no chemicals whatsoever. Some dentists are using calcium, different forms of calcium to create more of a matrix in there that's going to make it solid as opposed to something that will additionally kill cells. With that said, getting and detoxing the mouth is a trip. Again, you got to get into the bowels and clean it up. Get all these lymph nodes cleaned here. Make sure your pH is alkaline in the mouth, and then you'll start to see some regeneration issues there. So you always try to be smarter when you have to do something. It's nice to have teeth, but it is suggestive that your lymph system, dear one, in your head is kind of backed up. So, you know, this is common. I have that problem myself, and so, yeah. But I know Europe has been using calcium supplements. I would say this, though. It isn't just about calcium whatsoever. It's about the medium that's deteriorating the teeth. And, of course, that medium has always been blamed on bacteria, but that medium is just like every other medium. Nerve and blood is the key fluids that control the health of cells, even in the gums and the teeth and the bones and everywhere else. So the blood and lymph are really, the buck should stop with those guys. And in my opinion, the buck really stops with the lymph. That's where the problem really surfaces, because now we're on the corrosive antagonistic side of chemistry. We're on the acid side. And you notice a lot of people like to act like acids. But we just really got to bring our bodies back into a base chemistry. Let me see what else. I believe if she changes her diet to fruits, melons, and berries, she can turn this around. Yeah. She's let me see here. This is like Brenda. Hey, dear one, I haven't heard from you in a while. I have a friend who has sore knees and hips, maybe loss of calcium. Anyway, can I tell her that by eating a raw food diet, especially fruit, can turn this around? She is also in her 50s and has like most people, been eating the sad American crud. I believe that if she changes her diet to fruits, melons, and berries, and I believe you are right, Brenda. You know, when you start feeling your hips and knees, you know you're losing your kidneys. Bottom line. And you're going to start feeling your lower back. And then your cholesterol goes up. Your blood pressure sneaks from maybe low to high. Your blood sugar can go from low to high. Everything starts creeping worse because, again, you're not moving acid. When you start feeling tightness, stiffness, soreness, acids. And what system deals with that? Lymph. And what system filters that? Urinary tract. So really, that's an adrenal kidney issue, and that's what she needs to deal with in her 50s. She needs to correct that now, and then she has a good life. Or bye-bye knees, bye-bye hips, and all that. Make sure, again, Brenda, that her parathyroid is working where she can utilize calcium. At the same time, you want to move that lymph and move these acids out so the body can rebuild. Remember, it's very difficult to rebuild tissue in an acidic medium. And the more the lymph isn't being filtered, the more of an acidic medium we create. And then we start to see all the inflammation or the breakdown or the body's response to that. Cholesterol or calcium, we start seeing the loss of calcium out of the joint, and then calcifications on the outside of the joint, which is what happens to calcium in an acid medium. Remember, bone matrix or teeth is phosphorus, which is acid, and calcium. Link those two, and you got a rock. Does anyone know what makes Dr. Morse's formula better than the herbal formulas you can buy at a store? Why are the herbs at stores considered crappy? See, Basie, play me a tune, my friend, and I'll ask you, why is your music better than someone down the street? Huh? Because you're better at it. Ha! Because you're good at what you do. Because I've been... with my formulas, I've been a lot of years at teaching people how to be well. Not just helping them, but teaching them and teaching others to help others. And I, early on in my life, you had to basically teach people why they needed you. But you know what? I didn't realize I would be such a good formula maker. And I just use my intuitiveness, and I listen to the Supreme Being, let me tell you. I learn what it's not when you don't. So I just try to be a channel for these things, see, Basie. And when I feel something, you must feel, taste, surround, know, and I'm good at that. And I know which herbs. I'm amazed that some of the formulas out there are just really weird formulas. If you look at Dr. Christopher's formulas, and I've always said Richard Schultz is a very smart practitioner, should have made his own formulas, but pretty much followed down the footsteps of Christopher. Christopher had okay formulas, respected the man immensely, but a great, this guy paid a lot of ways. He put up with crap, harassment always and stuff, but he made some good formulas, but they weren't near the formulas that we make now. And I think, in due respect, someday you guys will make better than mine. I mean, it's just how we learn and pass on, and the youngs take it and grow more. And I think it's a privilege just to be involved in that process. No one has the total in on everything, but I fill mine with God force, and that's. See, Basie, that's what you need to do. A lot of the formulas on the market are just greedy formulas. And different companies. A good example was Nature's Way. Nature's Way's company first called me and said, we'd like to make your formulas for you. And I said, well, how many days do you distill? 7. Do you use commercial herbs? Yes. Okay, here's two bad things right off. And I forget, the ratio was 1 to 7 maybe, I can't remember, 1 to 7. If you don't have 1 to 6, you've got a horrible formula. Blessed Herbs used all their formulas, which Richard Schultz would praise them in his books. That was 1 to 5, and I told Michael, I said, I want mine 1 to 4. What's the strongest you can make mine and still produce a tincture out of it, where you can halfway have a power hog, but halfway be able to sell it on the market? Because there's a point, like MediHerbs, where you're at 1 to 1, 1 to 2 concentrates, but you're not. You have 2 distillation processes. Well, you get too far out there, you start losing the power of the herb, in my opinion. I just know what herbs. That's been my plants are my love. I've been back in those areas consciously. That's my field. That's my love. So I know when a plant isn't happy. I know when a plant knows what it knows, and I'm a communicator of plants.